The Phantom of the Opera is one of the most famous and commonly adapted pieces of media of all time. This pseudo-mystery gothic romance story has been told and retold in countless forms since it first appeared serialized in a French newspaper in March of 1910. Since then, we've had movies, television series, novels, radio productions, one of the most famous theatre performances of all time, and more relevantly, video games. However, there's only a couple of the latter. Korean developer Growing Seeds has seen the potential in these public domain stories, which led them to create the MazM series. No idea where they got that name from. If someone could let me know, that'd be fantastic. Come 2019, and MazM Phantom of the Opera was released for mobile devices before being published by CFK for the Nintendo Switch. An adventure game that was an adaptation of classic literature? Come on, how could I not want to pick this up? MazM Phantom of the Opera uses a nameless private detective as our framing device for the story. This stylish truth seeker has been hired in the early 1900s by a young woman to investigate the death of her father, Joseph Bouquet, a stagehand who died working at the Palais Garnier Opera House some 30 years ago. He ventures out to the opera house to find anyone who could shed some light on the mysteries surrounding it. Questioning the townspeople at the theatre leads him to the story of the mysterious Phantom of the Opera. This strange being once lurked within the Palais Garnier with a permanent hold on Box 5, the best and most expensive seat in the house. Further, it's learned that bad things will happen whenever people disobey the Phantom's whims. Around the time of Joseph Bouquet's death, he'd taken an obsession with one of the singers, Christine Daae, secretly tutoring and manipulating her as the angel of music. He planned to keep her under control and transform her to become the darling of the theatre. These plans are, however, met with a spanner in the works when a distant childhood friend of Christine, the Viscount Raoul de Chagny, witnesses her first starring role and becomes enamored with her. The Phantom, fearful that his pupil would abandon him for Raoul, threatens and abuses her to keep her within his ghostly grasp, all while concocting methods to take complete control of the opera. MazM Phantom of the Opera uses chibi overworld sprites where you will guide your current viewpoint character from one place to another, triggering decently long-lasting discussions and plot movement. You're able to examine your surroundings, feel your character's thoughts, and find little hint coins you can spend on if you're stuck. The title is very clear about your objectives, so you'll always have hint coins in abundance. Each character's design has been somewhat modernized for the current era, and the art is excellent. The CGs are very sparse, but they are very imposing. If you've experienced the story of the Phantom of the Opera before, you'll find this is more in line with the novel's version of the story, but there are a bunch of liberties taken. Changes in an adaptation can be questionable, but here they're fantastic. The initial framing device of the detective is new, and a lot of the one-note characters have much more substantial roles. Certain scenes have definitely been made to make the Phantom appear much more threatening, and whilst Christine may not be a fighter, she takes on much less of a damsel role than she had before. There is no explicit options menu, and thus no way to adjust the music or sound effect volume. You can switch your point in the story or read previous parts of the script at any point you're able to move. The tips menu is extremely in-depth, going into the history of the real-life portions of the story, as well as various contextual terms. The character profiles are constantly updating, so you can take a break and come back without getting lost at all. For some reason though, when reading through tips and profiles, the control sticks are inverted, which had me stumped when trying to read them for a while until I figured it out accidentally. The plus and minus keys on the Nintendo Switch serve the very important purpose of disconnecting the controller. I'm not even going to ask who came up with that and why. Additionally, every time you gain control of a character, the game freezes for up to 8 seconds every single time. You get used to it after a while, but it's extremely annoying. You can speed up the cutscenes too, but you can't speed up the regular walk cycle, and that can feel very slow at points. MazM Phantom of the Opera is an extremely good adaptation that turns the classic novel into an enjoyable adventure game and updates it for the modern audience. It faithfully recreates what the original story did well and improves upon what didn't stick as much. Whether you've only heard the name of the story or you've seen multiple versions of the tale, you're sure to get something out of this game, despite the strange lag. Noisy Pixel is giving MazM Phantom of the Opera a 6.5 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. Feel free to check out our other content and subscribe if you haven't already to stay up to date with all our future stuff. We've got a lot coming out. We've always got a lot coming out. If you have notifications on, you'll get them like every day because we've always got something. It's infinite content. What a stream. Azario is an absolute unit for how much he gets out. You guys should appreciate him.